Let's now move to the top voice segment on the show. This week we have Sandip Patel of IBM. Listen in. I'm in conversation with Mr. Sandip Patel, who is the Southeast Asia India head of IBM at a time when India's technology superpowership is in focus, at a time when there are now growing aspirations about India to be a leader in AI and semiconductor. What does it mean? How soon we can get there? What all we need to get there is what we are going to be discussing with Sandip today.
Great to be here.
We speak at a time when there is a lot of buzz around artificial intelligence, a concept that's unknown in the West, but India is still sort of waking up to the kind of possibilities it throws up. My first question, sir, how do you see the potential and possibilities that AI throws up for India, for the Indian economy?
I truly see AI as being the Naya Daur of really fueling digital India in many ways. And I'll tell you why. And whilst we might think that the Western world is ahead of the game, let me share with you some data points from a recent adoption index survey that we just did. So we did a global study to look at how enterprises were actually adopting AI. Interestingly enough, Indian enterprises, 59% of all Indian enterprises surveyed, which was the highest across all the other countries surveyed, said that they were actually experimenting with some form of AI. 27% of them basically said that they were thinking about it. So when you just take that universe, the understanding of AI is fairly significant.
Yes.
People are playing with it, are learning about it. One of the things that now I think it really needs to happen is scaling AI to its full potential.
Yes.
And taking advantage of it.
When you say 59% of the companies are already now, wanting to adopt AI in a significant manner, which are these sectors that we are talking about? What's the scale of adoption that we are talking about? Because that gives a sense of the transformation potential that we are talking.
So it ranges across the board. There's clearly, a lot going on in financial services institutions, fair bit happening in manufacturing, in retail, for example. These are all the industries that are actually trying to play with it. 59% is not thinking about it. They are experimenting with it in some way, shape, or form. So what that means is there are use cases that they are trying to try out. What has not happened though, is it hasn't been adopted at scale. And when we talk to CEOs and CXOs in these enterprises, there are sort of three areas which come up as detractors in terms of them really scaling AI to its full potential. The first one is around skills. People are, sort of worried that, will we be able to scale it to its full potential, and will we have the right kinds of skills to support it? The second area that comes up is around data, and do we have the data readiness, and so on and so forth. Third, which is probably very interesting, is can we trust AI and the outcomes? And this is where the notion of responsible AI becomes very important. I think today there is a lot of AI outcomes that are delivered, but people don't.
Some of them are worrying.
Some of them are worrying, and people don't know where they've come from, right? So that domain of trust and driving responsible AI, that is seen as one of the detractors to say, how do you work around that and make sure that what you are delivering as AI outcomes and what you are using as trusted AI, that is truly can be trusted.
So several aspects of this. One, you said the security bit. Second, you mentioned the scale bit. And third being the responsible AI bit, which is essentially the bias that the data has. How do you sort of reduce it? No one can eliminate it. But in terms of AI's next journey in India, what do you think should be the next key milestones that corporates need to also now watch out for as they all become large-scale adopters?
I think the whole notion of responsible AI is probably at the focus of it. Responsible AI is responsible business. And let me give you the elements of it. The way we think about responsible AI or trusted AI is threefold. One, you always have to think about AI not just as artificial intelligence, but it is augmented intelligence. It's something where you are augmenting human intelligence to make better decisions, to actually drive productivity, to do work faster, and so on and so forth. So that notion, I think, needs to be there. Second, the whole notion of data provenance is really important, which means where did data really come from? If you're using some points of data or certain data sets, do you really own them?